The other day, I see what appears to be a couple Mexican youths walking to the Circle K, and they were walking off the fields or out of a neighborhood connected to fields where people from Mexico and other Latino South American countries are working. And I thought to myself, well, you know what? It sounds like certain opportunities and social structures in Mexico aren't really cool, and people have grown up in a oppressed, circumstance. So, if someone comes here, a lot of these people want to work here, and they are working, and they don't have the opportunities over there than they do here. And I know a lot of them, okay, personally, and they've always accepted me, even ones like that. So when I look at somebody's face like that, I don't say, oh, there's a gang member, a Mexican gang member. No, because you know what? They're in America now, and maybe they realize that it's cool here and you can do hard work and you can actually get somewhere on a good level without having to steal food because you're hungry or get clothes or something because you don't have the shelter because, you know, the circumstance over there. I have not been to Mexico, but there's a lot of like rough areas, is what I hear, and people have tell me that have been to Mexico. So I can't look at that person as if they're a gang member once they're here. The same way I can't look at a policeman with a badge and say that they're all bad. So, when it comes down to the brass tacks, a lot of these people are farmers in the sense that, they don't mind working in the crops. They don't mind, helping each other or even working for each other and doing jobs that, oh, well, who's going to do the job because Americans won't do it, and I take that for face value right there. And for me, it's not based on a profile. It's based on an example. Okay, so I like the Mexican people. A lot of Mexican people come out of nowhere, and maybe because of like Frida Kahlo and Chavez and a lot of other Mexican, people who are famous, they get something about me and they accept me a lot of times more than some Americans did in some situations, because if I'm obscure or if I'm eccentric as an artist or if I have fight in me, I've been respected for it. I can't say maybe a handful of times where Mexican people have actually been mean to me instead of trying to talk to me or even speak English to me, or I'm hanging out with their families and stuff like that. It happens, and I've done that with a lot of different ethnicities and nationalities, and I have least complaints there for the way I've been treated, and the way they have a fire of passion to want to live and strive. I can relate to that. And at this point, there really is no border, but at the same token, when somebody from England or Britain comes over here, they're like, man, you got to listen to the cops, man. Oh, the Queen, and they want to take less and they want to make that, and they accept, like, not to say that they're going to accept crap from Europe or they're going to accept a low wage, but they're ready to give a portion up just to support an idea based on, a figurehead ruling. And they're kind of like trying to influence us to just shut up and bow down if somebody's standing in front of us that they consider in their country is like, you should just shut up and give them respect. So it's like, who is really better for America at this point? Are we being bled out by people that want to work for a living and do jobs that, a lot of Americans don't want to do because they've learned not or how to be lazy? Or do we want to be influenced by someone that says that, our civil and constitutional rights shouldn't exist, like Declaration of Independence, Bill of Rights, and all that stuff? Because isn't that how America was like discovered and made, in that sense, to the degree of modern times where people left England because of church and state and oppression and no rights? So it's like, if people want to start hating on Mexican people, why don't you start put the same scrutiny on other nations, and instead of looking at things that Walt Disney had explained in those cartoons from way back then, those ignorant cartoons. You think about that. And also, as far as industry, there's not I don't to my knowledge, there's not a lot of Mexican derived and produced technology. they work and they like to live, and they love their families. Now in the other side over there, like in England, they have the capability, so much so that it's almost like, okay, your track record of inventions and all this and that, you basically come in here and assimilating yourself with us, and you try to breed subservience into our people, where Mexican people are more about independence. So it's kind of crazy, right? So, we need to scrutinize everybody. But I think that, when you see that border and that line of people, if you look at it as the glass half full instead of half empty, you will realize that, if that wall wasn't there, we would be united, maybe, and we could just as easily walk over there and find friends and family and interests and do business just as easily as it's getting for them to walk over here. And I've seen people here. I've seen people here like 60, 70, or 80 years old, right next to kids that are, young people that are 16 and 20 years old, working the same jobs because they want to do. Now, if you take somebody from England like that, or Britain, they're not going to be able to handle it, because if you're young, you're young. If you're old, you're old. If you're not the queen, you shut the fuck up. So it's like, yeah, I'm not trying to hate on anybody. I'm just calling it like it is. And I see so many people that are ready to attack Mexicans. And, I have to say that I don't feel that way. So it doesn't bother me, because I don't see, where they're taking from us to that point. That we should be concerned with, and to the degree that a lot of American businesses don't mind hiring Mexican people, because English people won't work for that same money, or because they have an inbred thing that their opportunity in their life is worth more, instead and in contrast to the reality that we all need to do something right now to keep it going. So it's a false profile that's existing against Mexico, and I don't think it's cool. And I think that the whole border situation, whatever crisis, could be handled, and it's handled better, and it's handled illy, just as the racial issues are, or the class issues are. So we need to really start thinking about who's here now, and who's coming here now, and who wants to come here for what reasons, instead of, based on our own assumptions and the profiles that have been fitted so many years. It's pretty crazy. It's not right, and eventually it'll work itself out. But for people like me, that's why it's really not too fun to be in society, because you see it from this perspective, and you see how dysfunctional it is, and you see that the responsibility is coming, and accountability for that is it's due to the people that are right next to us, that were raised with us, that we grew up alongside. So as we separate our masses and we find non-unity in a lot of issues today, it's becoming commonplace that there is a lot of unity through the people that want to work and are willing to to take a little dive just to keep it going, whether it's financial or circumstantial or ethical, because there's a lot of narratives that come from Britain and England that don't fit the format for America, and nobody wants to look at that, just because movies like James Bond and the BBC, oh, that's the best news to watch. I mean, I don't think so.